When you realize that you are consciousness, an unshakable peace arises. You stop looking outside for recognition, stop struggling to hold on to impermanent things. You return to yourself, not as an individual, but as the infinite presence that lives through all forms. Stop and feel. That vast sky is not bound by the passing clouds. The vast ocean is unchanged by the waves that rise and fall. And so, in your deepest nature, you are never affected by the fluctuations of life. Nisargadatta reminds us, when you know yourself as consciousness, all fear vanishes, for death can only touch the body, never you. So, is it possible to die when you were never born? Practice of returning before birth. The key point of Maharaj's teachings is, don't just listen, don't just analyze, go directly inside and see. Because the truth is not in concepts, but in your own silence. 1. The first step, detach from all identifications. Sit still. Relax your whole body. Gently drop all roles, all names. You are not the body that is sitting. You are not the stream of thoughts that arise. You are not the father, mother, successful person or failure. Peel away layers and layers of identifications from yourself, as if removing a shirt that has been worn for too long. 2. Only the light of I Am remains. When there is no more labeling, no more clinging, you will touch a very subtle presence, the feeling of I Am. It has no form, does not belong to a story. It is just a small flame burning in silence. Here, you do not need to make any effort. You do not need to strain yourself in meditation. Simply knowing that you are present, that is enough. 3. The ultimate question, the door opens to infinity. When the feeling of I Am is stable, let a question arise in the silence. Before the feeling of I Am, what was I? Do not rush to find the answer. Do not let the mind interfere with the concept. This question is not to answer, but to tear the curtain of ordinary perception, to open a dimension that the mind cannot reach. 4. Return to the nameless, rest in the essence. In deep silence, you will realize. Before there was I Am, there was always a motionless, wordless, nameless presence. It is not born with this body, nor does it disappear with death. It is the eternal stillness, you, before all beginnings were born. Here, there is no seeker. There is no practitioner. There is no I or other. There is only infinite consciousness, the nameless one shining, without beginning, without end. 5. The result, absolute freedom. When you truly experience this state, a profound liberation erupts. All fear of death vanishes, because you see clearly. That which is born and dies is only the illusion of I, and you have never been born. This is the ultimate resting place, the return to the primordial home, where you have always been, from before your first breath, and after this body has dissolved. Enlightenment dialogue. So what are you after you die? Questioner. Maharaj, I have understood to some extent what you have said. Before I was born, I was just silence, pure, nameless presence. But a concern still weighs heavily on my mind. After death comes, when this body stops breathing, when this heart stops beating, what will I become? Will everything just end in nothingness? Maharaj. This question is a fire that burns in the heart of every human being, whether they admit it or not. I am afraid of death because I have identified myself with the finite, with the form, the memory, the story of me. But look closely, when a candle goes out, can you tell where the light has gone? It has not disappeared, nor has it gone anywhere. It has simply dissolved into the space that encompasses all light. The same is true of death. The body disintegrates, the mind disintegrates, but the knowing that was present before the birth of the body is still there. It has never been touched by birth or death. I only think that I have disappeared, while in fact, it is the thinking that has disappeared. Questioner: But sir, I am still afraid. Because since birth, I have only known identification with this body, with this stream of thoughts. Without it, how can I be me? Maharaj: That very fear is a sign that you are clinging to illusion. You have never been the body. The body is just a garment that is put on, and one day you have to take it off. The mind is just a river that flows by, it is not your source. When you say I am this, I am that, you are building a wall of illusion around yourself. In reality, you are the sky, not the cloud. You are the infinite space, not a fleeting image. When this body and mind fall away, only the illusion vanishes, and you, the unchanging, the unborn and the undying, remain intact. Questioner: So can it be said that after death you return to what was there before you were born? Maharaj: No. You do not return anywhere, because you have never left. It is only the mind that thinks of coming and going. Your true self, that pure awareness, is always here, motionless, unchanging, beyond time, beyond birth and death. See clearly, death is only a transformation of form, not the end of yourself. Questioner: Master, if I have never been born and never die, then what is the meaning of this life? Maharaj: This life is like a long dream. It is given to you so that you may realize that you are not a dream. The meaning of life is not to cling to each fragile moment, but to awaken within that dream. When you awaken, you will realize, I was never born, and therefore, I will never die. Then the fear of death will vanish like morning dew in the sunlight. And you will see, what you call death is actually the door that opens endlessly, leading you back to the very silence that has embraced you since before you knew you existed. Who am I? The ultimate question that resonates through all ages. In the Upanishads, this question is inscribed in immortal teachings such as Tat Tvam Asi, you are that. In Taoism, Lao Tzu whispers, to know others is wisdom, to know oneself is enlightenment. In Buddhism, the Buddha affirms, in this body, with this mind, can be found the beginning and the end of the world. At the turn of the 20th century, in India, a simple tobacconist, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, took the question to a new level, like an arrow piercing straight into the heart of illusion. Before the feeling of I am, what were you? The question forces you to stop completely, to listen to something beyond all thought. You are no longer allowed to hide behind the safe answers of I am the soul, I am the body, I am the memory, or I am the present consciousness. All are pushed aside. He forces you to face it head on. Before the first breath that sets the rhythm of life in motion, what was you? Before your parents gave you a name, before language appeared, what was there? Before the idea of I flashed in your mind, what pervaded everything? This is no longer a philosophical question. It is a door into infinity. a door that leads you beyond the boundaries of the mind into the unborn, undying ground where all egos, memories, identities are but shadows. I am the seed of the whole universe. According to Maharaj's teachings, I am is the very starting point of all experience. Observe carefully the moment you wake up in the morning. Before any thoughts arise, before memories and plans come rushing in, there is a very subtle but distinct feeling, I am. This is the primordial seed from which the whole world blossoms like a dream. It is this feeling of I am that gives rise to all distinctions, me and you, inside and outside, past and future, life and death. All that you call life, in fact, grows from the root of a simple consciousness, I am. However, Maharaj points out, I am is not the end. It is like a cloud. It appears every morning when you wake up, and dissolves into deep dreamless sleep. When the consciousness of I am is absent, the world disappears. When I am appears, the world appears. So the key question is, what is there when even I am does not exist? It is the ultimate essence, which encompasses both presence and absence. It is not born with this body, nor does it perish with death. It is beyond time, space, identity. If you stop at I am, you are still bound to the cycle of time, where there is birth and death, a beginning and an end. But when you go beyond I am, you reach the other shore, where there is no beginning, no end. There, you realize, before there was a human being, before there was a world, you were always the unchangeable. Shattering the illusion, the person who never existed. One of the most shocking teachings of Nisargadatta Maharaj is, you were never this person. You were never born, nor did you ever die. What you call I is just a temporary phenomenon in your consciousness. This statement is like a hammer that breaks down the thick wall of illusion that we still call I. 1. The illusion of the individual self. From the moment we cry out at birth, we are labeled name, gender, ethnicity, religion, profession, social role. All these concepts are piled on top of each other, forming a shell that we are used to calling myself. However, Maharaj reminds us that this self is just a collection of memories, experiences, habits, and beliefs. It is not you. Ask yourself, if your memories were erased, would you still be you? If this body changes cell by cell every 7 years, what part of the unchanging self is it? If all thoughts and emotions come and go, who owns them? 2. Human beings, just a dream. In dialogue with his disciples, Maharaj often compared life to a dream in the infinite consciousness. In the dream, you can suffer, be happy, love, hate, but when you wake up, everything disappears. In the same way, when you awaken to your true self, you will realize human beings have never existed. They are just a role in the cosmic stage. Like Lao Tzu once wrote in the Tao Te Ching, the human body is a heavy burden, but who knows that without the body there is no suffering? The person you are holding on to turns out to be just a fragile shadow. 3. Fear disappears when you see the truth. What people fear most is death. But that fear only exists because you believe you are this body. When that illusion is broken, you realize, no person has ever been born. No person has ever died. There is only infinite consciousness operating in countless forms. A drop of water may tremble in fear of evaporation, but when it dissolves into the ocean, it realizes it has never been lost. 4. Break to return. This truth may sound cold, but it brings absolute freedom. When you are no longer identified with the body, you are no longer imprisoned by fear, desire, and social roles. You do not need to become someone in the world, because you are already all. Maharaj said, "See that you have never been an individual." When that illusion dissolves, the infinite self will reveal itself. That is you. So, what is present even when the world is not yet known? It is pure knowing, the true nature that exists, where there is no attachment, no name. Infinite consciousness, your true home. Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, if this body is just a coat, then where is my true home? Nisargadatta Maharaj once said, "The ego comes and goes, but consciousness never leaves you. It is you, unborn, undying." When we turn our attention inward, beyond the waves of memory, name, gender, past and future, a clear reality begins to unfold. That reality is not confined to the finite body, not dependent on breath, heartbeat, or the flow of time. It is infinite consciousness, the vast space where everything exists and disappears, but itself is motionless, still, unchanging. At this level, you are no longer a person living in the world, but you are the invisible ground in which the world appears and disappears. Like an infinite screen on which countless images are projected and then vanish, but the screen remains intact. Your true home is this consciousness. It has no walls, no boundaries, no birth or death. It is a place you have never left, but most of the time forget. Conclusion. Death is not an end, but a thin veil that reveals to you the eternal truth. When you understand this, fear vanishes, and in your heart there is only a quiet peace. You no longer run from death, nor cling to life. You begin to truly live a life free from the shackles of the body or the idea. As Maharaj pointed out, you were never born, and therefore you will never die. Realizing this truth, you will see that each moment of the present is as bright as eternity, and that the silence within you is the door that opens to the entire universe. Stop, take a deep breath, listen to the silence that surrounds you, and remember, you are immortal, never coming, never going.